Hello everyone, this is Stephen Balch, your instructor for Introduction to Macroeconomics at Ozarka College. Today what I'm going to do is give you some feedback on the chapters 3 and 4 activities that I finished grading yesterday, and then I'm going to tell you what we've got coming up due for chapters 5 and 6 next week. Okay? So the first thing is, like I said, I did finish grading the chapters 3 and 4 activities yesterday. Go ahead and look at your grades for those activities if you haven't already done so, and read the corresponding grading comments, and let me know if you have any questions at all. I tried to be very specific on what I was counting points off for, if I did have to count any points off. And I also kind of included in the grading comments the answer that I was looking for in that particular case. So if you're not already reading the grading comments, make sure you're doing that, because that's the way that I'm providing feedback specifically to your assignment. Of course, in these videos, I give some general feedback, but the more specific feedback is in those grading comments. So make sure you're making use of that. Okay. Overall, most of you did well on the chapters 3 and 4 activities. There were a couple things that I need to point out, but overall, most of you did very well. So keep up the good work on the activities for this class. It's obvious most of you are putting the time and effort in that's necessary. So keep up the good work on that. Now, I did notice there were a couple of you that seemed to run out of time on the assignment especially, but also on the discussion. Some of you just kind of provided very basic answers, didn't really answer the questions thoroughly and completely. So I did have to count some points off there. There were a few of you who had some problems understanding demand and quantity demanded, which was one of the questions on the assignment. So because of that, I have posted a video on the announcements page here, and I've also posted it on the activities page, but it basically is a video where I explain what I was looking for in the answer for the question that dealt with demand and quantity demanded on the assignment. So even those of you that got all the points for that question that I didn't count any points off for on that, I think it would probably benefit you to watch this video just so that you can kind of review over the very important concept of demand and quantity demanded, because that's going to be something that you're going to definitely need to understand as we move forward through the rest of the semester. So, like I said, I would really like everyone to watch that video where I explain that relationship between demand and quantity demanded, and the things that can cause movement along a given demand curve, and the variables that can cause the demand curve to shift, and what that actually looks like. So, like I said, really would like you to watch that video. I think it'll help you out to better understand that. All right. The discussion that we had for chapters 3 and 4, which dealt with the increased occurrence of working from home, in other words, telecommuting. I thought that went very well. Of course, as we talked about in the discussion, a lot of things have kind of led to that increased working from home. Of course, COVID played a big role the last few years, but even before that, just the increased use of the internet and other technologies have kind of impacted that as well. And I really enjoyed reading everyone's comments about that, and really appreciate everyone's participation in the discussion. I really enjoy reading everyone's comments, and hopefully you enjoyed it as well. I think it's always good to have discussions that are related to the concepts that we're talking about in the chapters of the textbook. And of course, one of the things that it talked about was that increased working from home and how that impacts the economy and so forth. So, like I said, I really appreciate everyone's effort on the discussion. All right, and then the chapters 3 and 4 objective tests. Most of you did well on that, but I did notice there were several of you who only took the test once. Just as a reminder, you can take that test as many times as you want to up until the due date. And so just kind of remember that for future chapter test. All right. All right. So that brings us to what we've got coming up due for our next set of activities. So if we go to the activities page, right now we are on kind of the first part of week 4 here. Okay. And there's nothing else due this week, but there is work due the middle of next week. So you should be working on the rest of this week. Go ahead and at least get started on the chapters 5 and 6 activities, which are due by Wednesday of next week. So you've got just a little over a week to be working on those activities and get those submitted. Now, let me tell you a little bit about what you're going to be looking at in these chapters. Chapter 5 is the first chapter in our macroeconomics book that actually starts talking specifically about macroeconomic concepts. The first 4 chapters that we've done so far this semester are basically just general economic concepts that we need to know for both micro and macroeconomics. But this chapter 5 is the first chapter that kind of veers off into macroeconomic concepts specifically. Okay, so chapter 5 deals with the basic macroeconomic concepts of GDP, or gross domestic product, which is a way that we can kind of gauge the overall health of the economy at a particular point in time. And other topics that kind of go along with that are economic growth and fluctuations, economic indicators, aggregate demand and supply, which is a big topic for macroeconomics. And then finally, we'll also talk about the history of the U.S. economy. All right? So that's chapter 5. That kind of just introduces you to basic macroeconomic concepts. And then chapter 6, in chapter 6, what we're going to do is learn about some other very important macroeconomic concepts, such as the different ways that we can track the U.S. economy. There's something called the expenditure approach and the income approach. And so you'll learn about each of those ways that we can kind of measure economic activity. And then you'll also learn more about the circular flow model. We kind of introduced that in the first 4 chapters. But in this particular chapter, we're going to go into more detail and talk about that circular flow of resources and goods and services and the various economic groups that are part of that circular flow model of economics. And then finally, towards the end of chapter 6, we'll talk about a couple things that are very, very important in today's economy, especially. You hear about it on the news a lot. Inflation. And one of the ways that we kind of measure inflation is by something called the Consumer Price Index, or CPI. I'm sure you probably heard that concept or that term on the news before, but that's basically the kind of the index that we use, the kind of measurement system that we use to see how much prices have either increased or decreased in the economy, to look at inflation. Okay, So that's chapters 5 and 6. And so be working on those chapter activities for 5 and 6. Again, they are due by Wednesday of next week, which is February 19th. Remember to use all the resources that are available to you. Of course, you have your textbook. You have the PowerPoint slides that I've linked on the assignment page. And those PowerPoint slides, if you're not already using those, I would definitely highly recommend it, because in those PowerPoint slides, it basically kind of outlines the chapters for you so that you can kind of study the main concepts from the chapters without having to reread everything in the textbook. You still need to read through your textbook, but the PowerPoint slides allow you to kind of quickly study all the main concepts from the chapters. And then I also have the videos that I've linked on the assignment page. So make sure you're using all those resources that are available to you. All right? The other thing I'll remind you of before I let you go is make sure that you are using your own words on the assignment and on the discussion. All right? And most of you are, but just make sure also that if you include anything, any terms or any information that's not in the resources that I'm providing for you, if you're getting something from an external source, you need to properly cite that. Okay? Tell me where you got that information. All right? But still put that information into your own words. Okay? All right. So that's all I have for you for today. So be working on that. Let me know if you have questions. Enjoy the rest of your week and your weekend, and I will talk to you again sometime later next week. Thank you.